Just the one him and himself. We don't have one.
Let me get a hold of Rich. What's up, Rich Franklin?
What's going on there, Bubba?
We got a ton of superstars. Hogan's in the building right now. Well, he's actually taking a shit, but he was just here a second ago. I'll have him come say hi to you. You a big Hulk Hogan fan when you grew up?
Wasn't everybody? Come on.
Now, right outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, is where my boy Rich Franklin is. What do you got going on nowadays?
I'm trying to take a little time off. UFC keeps calling me about fighting, and I'm just kind of working out a little bit and stuff like that, and just I guess relaxing, tending to other business, American Fighter, and all that other junk.
Well, you lost a tough one against Vitor Belfort at UFC 103 in Dallas in September. And, what would happen if you hadn't lost that fight and you had won that fight? Would you still be contemplating taking the time off, or would they really keep the big machine rolling and try to get you in a fight as soon as possible?
No, yeah, I would be. Actually, really, to be real honest, I didn't want to take that fight in September. 09's been a long year for me. I had the Henderson fight, and then I had the Vanderlei fight, and it's just difficult to constantly get ready for big fights. And I really wanted to take a little time down, but the UFC had UFC 100 just shortly before my fight, and they put themselves in a position where they didn't have any headliners. And so when I renegotiated my contract with them, basically, Dana sat down and said, "Look, we really need you to fight in September." And it was bad for me because I just gotten to the point where I was, mentally just torn down and physically dealing with some minor bumps and bruises, a couple little injuries here and there, and it was, just not a good time for me to fight. So had they not asked me to fight in September, I actually would have taken that time off, and had I won the fight, I would have planned on taking more time off.
I mean, win or lose, you needed some time to rest. I mean, every time I turn around, you're fucking fighting. I feel sorry for you.
Well, don't feel sorry for me because this is the path I've chosen in life, and I'm not going to.
Brady's like a Mexican gang member. Every time I know he's fucking fighting somebody. Like, Jesus, settle down a little bit, kid. Enjoy life a little bit. You made enough money. Enjoy your family.
I feel like that. I feel like if they're like, if you want to be part of our club, then you're going to have to go mug this old lady.
Blood in and blood out, bitch. Let's go. You got to fight now. Come on, Rich.
Hey, I'm in for life. I got the tattoo to prove it.
Now,
nobody can see it.
What do you think? Looking ahead, maybe mid next year, maybe early spring, late spring. I mean, if you were to look ahead as to one, when you think you might fight, and two, who are you posturing to maybe have to fight?
You know what? It really doesn't matter who I fight, but for me, I would love to fight late spring or something like that. It's wintertime right now, and I hate training in the winter. I hate running in the cold weather. You've seen Rocky, and that 5 a.m. crap, drinking eggs and running when it's 20 degrees outside with snow on the ground is just for the birds.
Yeah, but doesn't that kind of suck? Doesn't that kind of suck in the fact that if you don't fight, you don't make money? I mean, sure, you've got the clothing line, you've got some appearance stuff and other things like that, but if you don't fight, that's your main source of income. So, I mean, are you good with that? You're just good on cash to where you're not even sweating it?
That bitch used to be a fucking middle school teacher. He knows how to save.
Well, you know what I'm saying, though.
He's got $8 million buried out back.
Exactly, man. I learned, I make a heck of a lot better money fighting than I did teaching, but coming from that kind of background, I was the first kid in my family to graduate from college. And so even being a teacher would have been financially successful for me. And, when you come from that kind of history, you know what to do with your money.
Much like our buddy Edge, Brent at WWF, that bitch, he has so much money because he has been very frugal and very smart. Rich, have you been smart with your money pretty much?
Yeah, I really, honestly, I don't buy things that don't appreciate. For example, the last car that I actually bought myself was the Jeep that I bought when I graduated college, and I still drive the same Jeep. I mean, I've tricked it out a little bit, but
man, what a tight ass, huh?
Hey, you're cheaper than me, Rich. I love it.
Somebody give me let me buy him a fucking new car.
No, he got Dana to buy him a new car.
That's true. He's probably got 10 new cars because Dana buys him a new car all the time.
Well, actually, I'm sitting in a Toyota Tundra that I did a commercial.
There you go.
That's how you fucking. That's how Rich Franklin rolls. How's Matt Hughes doing?
Honestly, I haven't talked to him, man.
You guys used to be so close, and now you guys aren't talking. What's wrong?
That's how me, Matt. I just saw Jeremy Horn, Pat Militich, all those Militich guys, Tim Sylvia and stuff. We were tight, but this. Basically, everybody's gone from fighting to, your life encompasses so much more than just fighting, and you get busy, and lives take you different directions and stuff like that. And Matt and I used to headline cards together and all that kind of stuff, and I can't remember the last time he and I were even at the same show.
Now, American Fighter's been good to you now, hasn't it?
You know what? Considering the economy and the hit that it's taken and everything, it's not been bad. We've done really well. So I'm assuming that when things pick back up, that it's just going to really take off for us as well.
We had the tap out guys, and I hope that's not a competition or a bad thing, but we had the tap out guys, Skyscraper, and the other guy in here about a month or so. Those are nice guys. Are you familiar with those guys, Rich?
I used to be with Tap Out, and I love Scrape, and Mask was a great friend of mine. It was unfortunate what happened to him, but those guys, Dan and everybody, they are just a good group of guys, good-hearted guys, and I'm definitely not a hater. If they can make money in the business and we can make money in the business, then more power to everybody.
Now, I know you've probably been asked 1,000 times, but I got to ask a guy like you who does not act this way just because you're like the face of, you're the classy face and, the well-respected and gentlemanly face of UFC. How disappointed or what were your thoughts when Lesnar, made an ass out of himself on the pay-per-view?
You know what? Really, for me, it wasn't that big of a deal because if we didn't have guys like Lesnar doing what he does, it wouldn't make guys like me look so good.
Now, not that you were backstage, because I don't know if you were backstage, but how much of an ass chewing do you think he might have gotten from Dana when he fucked with Bud Light? You're talking about a client, a huge client, and that there's a fighting side of it and then there's a business side of it, and you gotta be smart and not piss off the business side of it. I gotta think that the promo that he cut, and the heat that he got is okay until he incorporated a client. And rumor has it that Dana just lit him a new ass in the back. Can you expand on that at all?
Well, I wasn't there. I was actually watching the fight at home, and when he said what he said, especially about Bud Light. I mean, when he said what he said, my mouth kind of dropped open. But when he said what he said about Bud Light and Coors Light, my chin about hit the floor. And then I heard that Dana basically kicked everybody out of his locker room and had a one-on-one talk with Lesnar himself, which is never a good thing when Dana has to do something like that with you. And from what I understand, he showed up to the post-fight press conference drinking a Bud Light. So
yeah, Dana's got an unbelievable way about making you see it his way now, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know what he said, but he said his ass straight real quick, I'm pretty sure.
Now, when Dana says, okay, everybody clear the fucking locker room now, that's probably not a good thing, is it, Rich?
Hey, I live by very few rules, but one of them is don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Right, I'm telling you. Now, again, another stupid question that only a stupid fan like myself would ask, a guy that's as, upper echelon as you, but I mean the big, unbelievable matchup that everybody wants to see that probably won't go down because Fedor won't pull his fucking head out of his ass, and, realize that this bullshit, whatever type of game he's playing, he could, become even a bigger superstar because, really, Brent, less the CBS coverage that he just got this past weekend, the casual UFC fan doesn't really know much about this guy. The guy that just orders the pay-per-view and things like that and watches Spike TV and sees The Ultimate Fighter. We hear of the Fedor guy, but you don't know a lot about him if you're just kind of a quasi weekend warrior. So, what would you, if it ever did happen, the Lesnar Fedor fight? Everybody, I always ask, Rich, and I don't know if you can truly speak your opinion or not, if you have to pull for Dana's guy, but I mean, everybody I talk to says that Fedor would ruin him. What's your opinion on it?
I'll say this much. I mean, first of all, like Fedor not signing with the UFC and all that, it just builds more and more and more of a mystique around him. And I think that people keep hearing about Fedor, but they just don't know. And so it makes them really curious. And I think that if in the end he were to able to work something out with the UFC, that's going to end up paying off for him. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff that's going on, honestly, I believe that there's more at work there than just Fedor himself. I believe that like M1 Global, which is the organization that backs him, they want to do a lot of co-branding and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just speculating, but I think that it's more about the business of all that stuff than Fedor himself, and he's probably, honestly, not the one pulling the strings on all that, but he's the one that, his name is the one taking the heat for him not signing. And I think that, had Fedor fought Lesnar, prior to, say, today, definitely he would have told him, but every day that Brock is in the UFC, and every day that he's training in mixed martial arts, he's just getting that much better. I mean, he's learning how to work on the ground, learning how to defend submissions. I mean, you're never going to see Brock working off his back and putting triangle chokes on people, but, I mean, his boxing's getting better, his footwork's getting better, and he's always been a phenomenal athlete, but he's just becoming a better fighter on a daily basis.
Now,
the long